Good morning. This is our presentation about Intercultural Activity 2. This group is composed to Juan Camilo and me, Paula Andrea. This story exposes the Kino's life, who is an enterprising man. In his theories, Kinos has personal situations that trigger negative effects in his life and promote a self-reflection and considerable change in his life. This story exposes the influence of different persons that are part of Kino's life. The main character of this story is Kino, who owns the bar. He is an enterprising man, serious, sensitive, receptive, and understanding. The second character is Kamita, the man who visits the bar. Kamita is tall, bald, and thin, always wearing a long gray raincoat. He is mysterious and vigilant. As alternate characters are two men present in the bar who are called Ponytail and the Big Man. These are aggressive and moody. Kino's ex-wife, who is an attractive woman and a leader, although she isn't resentful. The woman with Kino had a clandestine relationship or clandestine romance is elegant, feminine, mysterious, submissive, and a little bit cold. Finally, Kino Sound is an elderly woman, knowledgeable, enterprising, and understanding. This story transcurs in Japan. This is a fiction novel, and the principal conflict refers to the harshness with Kino confronts the negative situations in his life without allowing himself to listen to what his heart really feels and wants to express. I think that this story is very interesting because it can show us the importance to appreciate the things in at the present moment. This story can show us the value of the things that we have each day or per day. For example, in this case, the elephant is a one thing that always be present and its presence isn't notorious. However, when the caretaker listens that his elephant disappeared, he tried search for all parts. He tried found for all places. I would like recommend this story because it's a mixtape between the reality life and some fantasy.
Now I'm going to talk about the gender and what is the meaning of his history. The first time I think that the gender is science fiction, but when I took a second look of in the text, I think there is kind of element of that magical realism that plus and create Gabriel Garcia Marquez, because there is a different situation of different uh, points in the history that happened to Kino that make me feel that make me think that there is a kind of a situation of kind of perspective or in the history that I think there is done really true. There is point of perspective from the from the um, from the Kino, who is the principal person in the history. Now I'm going to talk about the plot of the history. Now the characters and the plot of the history. I think the principal character is Kino, and in the second place there is the aunt of Kino, maybe the ex-wife, and the and his friend Kakimato. I think there was his name. Their characters is the wrong way to understand the history of Kino because in past of the test, Kino do that things the history record the things that Kino happens because the second characters uh, do something to explore that history. And in the plot, we have the introduction first. In this part, the author describes the life of Kino, who who is he, who is his passion, who is study. Um, he talked to us about how he got his job, how many time he worked in that job. In the conflict, I think that is when Kino discovered he that his wife is he is cheating on him. Um, the climax of the history is when Kino know who is the really proposed of the second character, Kagimoto. The fall action, I think, it was when he lost his cat because Kino was in a good place for him in his bar, in his life, but when one thing changed, all of that good situation for him changed. And um, the resolution is when maybe in the last part of the history he understand that he only need to understand that in this perfect place that he think that he was, um, he suffer and he feel some pain. At the time, I think the conflict external in this case, I think there is not more important because in the past of the history is only for that the author need to understand how a man don't don't give don't doesn't matter he don't say that he's in Spain that he have suffering inside because in all history we think that Kino is okay but in the last part of the history we understand that he really suffered inside. And the internal conflict is the all things that in the last part of the history we can understand the irony, the term of the history because it's kind of confused. First, that we in the first time we try to know who is Kino, we try to know his purpose, he that specific part of his life, but in the end we know that all things have a purpose, has a way to Kino understand what is the pain of that he feels. Actually, my point of view of this history that is first I think that is a good text because I really feel the pain of Kino in the last time of the text because the way who is writing can make a good feeling for Kino. Can you make a good relation when you read the action of you can interactive with this problem that Kino have. So I think there is a good read to kind of understand what is the problem of other person. And according with that, I think there is the two explanation of the short history can each your understand of yourself is maybe we don't know how many we feel something, how many times we just uh, say that ourselves, no, I'm okay, I don't have any problem, I feel that everything is okay, but inside of us, inside of our brain or our heart, um, we don't feel that, but we show of other person that we always okay. And the other situation is according what Kino release his journal because he do something for him. He create his bar. He create his or purpose to understand why he can to stand up of that bad situation. And in the end, to talk about the Murakami Pie, the elephant vanish and error or perception. Um, I want to talk about how the fantasy and the reality can converse to make us reflect because I think in that all histories or that all text, this author can to mask and do a mask to that perspective that can explain before. There is a kind of um, this real thing and magical thing because in this case I think that in that relative we can understand perspective of the real life using our imagination or using the fantasy with this perspective of the part that the history can to make on ourselves.